My name is Janet Bayramyan, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker therapist.
What inspired you to get into the mental health field?
Yeah, for me personally, I went through my own struggles in life and I sought therapy to deal with some of my own personal issues. And after receiving some really amazing support, I just kind of realized at the time, I want to do that for someone else. And thus that led to me pursuing psychology in undergrad and then moving into my grad school program.
How does helping others help your own healing process?
Yeah, there's something in the therapy world called like a parallel process. I feel like, I know that clients learn from me and learn from the sessions that we have, but I also feel like my clients have so much of their own wisdom, and I often learn so much from them too. So I feel like there's that, we call it a parallel process that happens.
Yeah, do you see people's confidence level rise as they go through the process?
I totally do. I totally do. It's amazing to see that because oftentimes, and this is the goal really of therapy, even if clients say it or not, but my goal for people is to start feeling more confident in themselves, to trust themselves a little bit more, to trust in what their own experiences are. And so, as people engage in therapy, if they definitely come on a regular basis and we have a good relationship, I do see that happening, which is amazing.
Can you tell me a little bit about your methods?
So, I provide different types of therapy. So there is just general talk therapy that's provided. I like to incorporate the mind and body though. So I like to do a lot of mindfulness practices with my clients, a lot of somatic work, like checking in with their body as they're talking about their feelings and engaging in their sessions. I'm also trained and certified in EMDR and brain spotting, and those are trauma modalities. So I use a lot of that in my practice. And then another method that I really, really enjoy is called internal family systems, also known as parts work. And that's a type of therapy that helps clients kind of analyze their own internal feelings, their own internal parts of themselves that show up in life. And I find that method to also be incredibly helpful too.
Yeah, one of the methods that I don't know a whole lot about is brain spotting. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, brain spotting is a type of therapy developed by psychologist David Grand. David Grand actually used to be an EMDR therapist that sort of stumbled upon brain spotting and the process of brain spotting. But the idea behind it is where you look impacts how you feel. And so, in a brain spotting session, if a client is coming in with high distress or let's say traumatic experiences that they want to work through, instead of just talking about it, or in EMDR, we do what's called bilateral stimulation, back and forth eye movements or back and forth tapping as you're thinking about the trauma. Brain spotting is slightly different. It's more so you're sort of thinking or recalling the experience of trauma, but looking at a spot, either on screen or off screen in an office, which is called the brain spot. And the idea behind it is when you look at that particular spot, you are working through a lot of feelings, a lot of things that are happening in your body. Your brain is also working through some of the emotions that are present, and you're able to process by focusing on a particular spot in the room. It's quite fascinating and quite amazing how the process works. Each individual sort of has their own brain spot that they like to focus on that makes them feel better or helps them through the process. So everybody is individual. But that's brain spotting kind of in a nutshell.
For me, I live with a bipolar disorder too, and thinking of therapy was very stigmatized. I was scared to do it for a long time, and then I've been doing it the past few years, and it's been great. Do you see the stigma lessening a little bit to go to therapy?
I definitely do, particularly with the younger generation, like my generation, millennials, Gen Z. Um, I definitely think so because, the younger generation, we talk about our feelings, we talk about relationships, we talk about things that are kind of always evolving in our lives. Whereas I think the older generation was maybe a little bit more closed off or a little bit more private. I'm not saying everybody is like that in sort of the older generation, but that's sort of a trend that I'm noticing. So I do feel like there is less and less stigma. I feel like we still have a long way to go, though, unfortunately. But I do feel like the more openness really, really helps destigmatize the shame around going to therapy.
For you, you work in a practice. What is it like working with other people who have similar missions?
It's awesome. I feel like as therapists, we kind of find our people, and our people sort of support us. Like therapists find their own, not only therapists, but friends that are also colleagues. And it's amazing because we help each other, we consult with each other, we vent to each other and talk about some of the challenges of being in this field. I also have a lot of colleagues that are also very close friends. So, I share about my personal life with them too. So it's amazing when you find your people for sure.
And you do a lot to help others, but what do you do to help your own mental health?
Good question. I do my own therapy. I feel like honestly you can't really be in this field if you don't do your own work. So I go to my own therapy on a regular basis as often as I can. I really believe in movement. I think movement is so healthy for the mind and the brain. Um, Releasing endorphins is so important. So I'm a big proponent of movement, working out, doing dancing, or just something fun for your body to kind of release a lot of energy or to tap into certain things. Um, I also love, spending time with my dog, spending time with my family, um, doing my best to not take life so seriously. I know that's really hard with a lot of the challenging things that are happening right now in the world. Um, that's kind of how I take care of myself at the moment.
And you talk about the mind, and a lot with therapy, right? When you think is like your just mental health, but a lot of it is physical. So, how important is it to take care of your physical and mental health at the same time?
Well, ideally, we all would do that hand in hand together
Right.
because it's kind of like the chicken or the egg. Like, sometimes I talk to people with challenges with their health that then manifest into worsening of their mental health, or it can be vice versa. There might be a worsening of mental health, and then you see it manifest in the body with different illnesses and ailments that happen. So I do feel like it is important to do both hand in hand to really take care of what your body is needing and also what your mind is needing as well.
What would you say to anyone going through a tough time?
Well, it depends on what it is. Sometimes tough times are sort of a season. So I might say to them, it's hard now, but this is only temporary. I might say, what support do you need? Maybe talking to someone would be helpful. I would also say it's important not to be isolated because when we're going through a tough time and we might feel isolated, then it's incredibly challenging to get through that tough time. So I would say it's just also important to surround yourself with supportive people if you can.
So, where do you want to see your mission, say, in the next 3 to 5 years?
Well, I want to keep doing what I'm doing, working in the mental health field. I want to continue to do trauma work, learn more about different trauma therapies and ways that I can support others that are going through tough times. Um, I also want to create more joy as well because I think joy is such an important component to having a healthy mental health as well. So I feel like I want to do a lot of the same and just expand in what I'm doing currently.
How can people reach out and learn more?
So best way would be to go to my website. It's www.road, the number two, wellness.co. And on my website, you can see all of the different types of services that we offer. And there's a contact button on my website. So if you want to reach out to me directly, you can go ahead and fill out the contact section, and we'll reach out to you in the next business day.
How does it feel for you to be helping others?
It feels great. I can't imagine doing anything else other than, being a mental health therapist. I love it. I really enjoy supporting others work through what they need to work through. And I just feel like the people that I work with are just some of the most resilient people. So it's amazing.